Commander Leon Drake woke up to a faint hum that echoed through the air like music made of light. He blinked slowly, his vision blurred by pain and confusion. The last thing he remembered was the flash of plasma fire, his fighter spinning out of control near the Valerian Nebula, and then darkness swallowing everything. Now he found himself lying inside a transparent cell, its surface made of glowing crystal that pulsed softly with every breath he took. Strange symbols floated across the walls, moving like living light. Outside the chamber stood tall figures in silver armor, their faces hidden behind smooth masks that reflected his own terrified face back at him. "Human awake," one of them said in a cold, metallic voice. Then they stepped aside and a new figure entered the room. She was taller than any human woman Leon had ever seen. Her skin shimmered like liquid silver, her hair flowed down her back like strands of light, and her violet eyes seemed to glow from within. She was beautiful, but not in the way humans understood beauty. There was something otherworldly, sharp and fragile about her. "I am Princess Kalyra of the Valerian Dominion," she said, her voice calm but heavy with authority. "You are trespassing in our sovereign space." Leon tried to sit up, but invisible energy pushed him down. He felt weak, the air thick like water. "Name's Commander Leon Drake, Earth Defense Fleet," he said through gritted teeth. "I didn't trespass, I crashed." Kalyra tilted her head slightly, studying him like a scientist examining a strange new species. "Your kind is reckless. You cross borders you do not understand. Fight wars you cannot win." Leon gave a tired smile. "You'd be surprised what humans can win." For a moment, her eyes softened, but she turned away quickly. She walked around the crystal cell slowly, her movements graceful and silent. Her reflection rippled across the glowing walls. "You are different," she whispered as if to herself. "Your eyes hold fire. Even when you are weak," Leon laughed under his breath. "And your eyes hold storms." That made her pause. Her fingers brushed against the edge of the chamber, the light shifting where she touched it. "Storms?" she repeated quietly. "Yeah," Leon said. "Beautiful and dangerous at the same time." She frowned as if unsure whether to feel insulted or flattered. "Your species uses strange words," she said. "Our people do not speak of beauty. Only symmetry and purpose." Leon leaned his head back, his voice growing softer. "Maybe that's why your people build perfect cities and still look sad." Kalyra's violet eyes flickered for a moment, as though something he said had struck her deeply. "You think sadness makes us weak?" she asked. "No," Leon said. "I think it makes you alive." For the first time, her expression changed. Not with anger or arrogance, but with something close to confusion. She looked away, the faint light from her skin dimming slightly. "Human emotion is chaotic," she murmured. "It frightens my people." Leon smiled faintly. "It frightens us too. But it also keeps us moving forward." Silence filled the chamber. The hum of alien energy surrounded them, like the ship itself was listening. Then Kalyra spoke again, her tone almost hesitant. "Tell me, Commander, if humans are so strong, why do you always chase destruction?" Leon closed his eyes for a second. "Because we don't know how to stop," he said softly. "We fight, we break, we rebuild, it's just who we are." Kalyra turned toward the viewing screen, where a holographic image of Earth flickered. Her voice lowered. "Your world. It is flawed, dirty, loud," she said. "But there is something about it. Something that feels alive." Leon opened his eyes, watching her. "You've seen Earth?" She nodded. "Only through your transmissions, your music, your art, your people laughing and crying. I do not understand it, yet I cannot look away." He studied her face carefully. "You sound like you want to." She hesitated, her expression softening. "I am not beautiful like your human women," she whispered, her gaze falling to the floor. "My skin shines like metal, my eyes glow like a weapon. My father says such things are signs of strength, but I have always wondered if they make me less." Leon's heart ached at the quiet truth in her words. He smiled gently. "You think you're not beautiful?" he said. "You've got two things humans could never have." Kalyra looked up, surprised. "What things?" Leon leaned forward, his voice warm and sincere. "Light and courage." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The alien guards outside stood motionless. The ship's lights pulsed softly around them. Kalyra's violet eyes shimmered. And for the first time since he had seen her, she smiled, and not the cold, perfect smile of a royal, but something fragile, almost human. Then the hum of the ship changed. Alarms echoed in the distance and Kalira's calm vanished. She turned sharply toward the door. "You should not have come here, human," she said quickly, her voice trembling with something that sounded like fear. Leon frowned. "What's happening?" She looked back at him one last time, her expression torn between duty and emotion. "The Dominion Council has detected your signal. They know you are alive and they are coming." Before he could speak, the crystal walls around him glowed bright white. Kalira raised her hand and whispered, "Stay silent, Commander, and perhaps you will live." The chamber filled with light and Leon's vision faded again. But before everything went black, he heard her voice, soft and almost breaking, maybe. "Beauty is not symmetry after all," she said. And then there was only silence. When Leon woke again, the light inside his cell had dimmed to a soft blue. The ship no longer hummed like before, it breathed alive and quiet. He sat up slowly, his muscles aching. The energy barrier around him shimmered weakly, as if something had drained its power. Outside the cell, the room looked empty. Then from the shadows, Kalira appeared, her silver cloak flowing like liquid moonlight. She moved with grace, but her eyes looked restless. The glow that had once surrounded her had faded, replaced by a strange sadness. "You are still alive," she whispered. "Good." Leon rubbed his head. "Didn't expect you'd be the one checking on me." Kalira stepped closer. Tapping a control crystal, the barrier dissolved into mist. Leon blinked in surprise. He was free, at least for now. "Why are you helping me?" he asked carefully. She didn't answer right away. Her gaze wandered toward the great window beyond the chamber. Through it, the endless expanse of the nebula burned, purple clouds and glowing storms stretching into infinity. "I watched the transmission you humans sent before the battle," she said quietly. A woman's voice singing, her eyes closed. Tears on her face, you called it. Music. Leon smiled faintly. "Yeah, that's something we do when words aren't enough." Kalira turned to face him, her expression unreadable. It was imperfect, her voice trembled, it broke in places. Yet I could not stop listening. "That's the point," Leon said softly. "Beauty isn't perfection, it's honesty." Kalira's lips parted slightly, as if she wanted to reply, but then she turned away again. Her silver hair shimmered in the nebula light. "Come with me," she said finally. Leon hesitated. "You're taking me to your father, aren't you?" Her eyes flashed violet. "No, Commander. I am taking you where no human has ever been." They walked through long corridors lined with living crystal. Each wall pulsed gently with color, like the heartbeat of a sleeping creature. Leon could feel warmth under his fingertips whenever he brushed against the surface. "What is this place?" he asked. "The core sanctum," Kalira said. "The heart of our ship and of our world." They entered a vast chamber filled with floating lights. The air shimmered with energy. At the center of the room stood a massive crystal structure, a spire glowing softly with golden light. Within it swirled shapes, faint outlines of faces, voices whispering. "It's alive," Leon murmured. Kalira nodded. "This is the memory core. It holds the thoughts and emotions of every Valerian who has ever lived." Leon stared in awe. "Your ancestors are inside it?" "In a way," she said, placing her hand on the crystal. "Our people believe emotions are dangerous, so we store them here, sealed away. My father calls it purification." Leon frowned. "You remove your feelings?" Her voice broke slightly. "Yes, it is how we keep order. But I never wanted to. When I was a child, I hid during the purification ceremony. My father found out. He said my weakness would one day destroy me." Leon looked at her, the light from the crystal painting her face in gold. "That's not weakness," he said softly. "That's strength you don't even see yet." Kalira closed her eyes. "Strength," she repeated as if testing the word. Then she looked up at him, her gaze steady now. "You humans fight for what you love even when it hurts. We were taught to erase such things." She reached into a compartment near the spire and pulled out a small cube of blue light. It floated in her palm, pulsing gently. "This," she said, "is my memory, the one I was ordered to give away. It contains what I felt the first time I saw the stars." Leon took a slow breath. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because I think," she said, her voice trembling, "I think your kind might understand what my people never could." Before he could answer, the lights in the chamber flickered red. A voice echoed through the corridors, deep and sharp. "Princess Kalira, report immediately. The Emperor demands your presence." Kalira's hands tightened around the cube. They have discovered my absence, she said quickly. You must hide, Leon stepped forward. And what about you? I will tell them nothing, she said, but if they find you, they will destroy you. Leon looked around and spotted a small recess beneath the crystal floor. Then you'd better make your lie sound good, he said with a faint grin. For the first time, Kalira laughed. It was a soft, broken sound, the kind that carried both sorrow and relief. Humans, she whispered. Even facing death, you still joke. Yeah, Leon said, hiding behind the crystal. We call it optimism. Moments later, the door burst open. Guards in silver armor stormed in, their energy weapons raised. Behind them stood a tall figure wearing a crown of light. Emperor Valen. His eyes burned brighter than Kalira's, cold and calculating. Where is the human? He demanded. Kalira lowered her head. Destroyed, my lord, she said firmly. His body was vaporized in the crash. Valen's eyes narrowed. Then why do I feel his presence in the core? Kalira's pulse raced. You feel only my guilt, father, for allowing his capture. The Emperor's gaze lingered, suspicion in his stare. Then he turned away. You have disappointed me again, Kalira, he said. Return to the Citadel. You will oversee the invasion of the human colony on Vega Prime. Perhaps that will teach you discipline. As the guards followed him out, Kalira stood frozen, her fists clenched, her eyes glowed brighter, violet fire swirling inside them. When the door closed, Leon crawled out from hiding. Vega Prime? He asked quietly. That's a human world. Kalira's breath trembled. Yes, and they will burn it. She turned to him, her expression torn between fear and defiance. Commander, I will not let that happen, she said. But I cannot stop them alone. Leon met her gaze. Then you won't be alone. For a moment, they simply stared at each other. A human soldier and an alien princess. Two beings from opposite worlds, bound by something neither fully understood. Kalira held out her glowing hand. Then come, human, she said softly. Let us see what courage can do against an empire. And together they stepped into the light. The corridors of the Valerian flagship glowed faintly as Kalira and Leon moved through them in silence. Every step echoed like a secret they could not hide. The hum of the ship had changed. Faster, louder, filled with tension. It felt like the calm before a storm that could shatter stars. Leon kept his voice low. You said they're going to attack Vega Prime. Kalira nodded, her silver eyes flickering with worry. My father believes the humans will never surrender. He wants to make an example of your colony. Leon clenched his fists. Vega Prime isn't a military base, it's full of families, children, workers. I know, Kalira said softly. That is why I brought you here. I need your help to stop it. Leon studied her, confused but intrigued. You want to stop your own empire? She looked down, the light from the ceiling reflecting on her silver skin. For generations, we were told that emotions make us weak. But since I met you, I see that it is not weakness to feel. It is power. Real, frightening power. Leon smiled faintly. Welcome to humanity. Kalira led him into a dark chamber filled with holographic stars. The center projection displayed the entire Vega system, glowing red. The invasion begins within 2 cycles, she said. But there is something your people must see before that. What do you mean? Leon asked. Kalira pressed her hand against a control panel, and the hologram shifted, showing thousands of alien warships gathered at the edge of human space. Their formation looked like a massive ring of fire, surrounding a single blue planet. Leon stepped closer, disbelief on his face. That's not just an invasion fleet. That's a full extermination line. Kalira's voice shook. My father fears humanity. He calls your kind unpredictable, dangerous. He believes the only peace will come from your destruction. Leon's jaw tightened. He's right about one thing. We are unpredictable, he said. And when someone threatens Earth or its people, we stop being fragile. Kalira turned to him, her expression both afraid and hopeful. Then I need to show your people what's coming. Leon frowned. You mean send a message? Yes, she said. But I cannot do it alone. The communication network is guarded by the High Council. If they detect my signal, I will be executed. Leon crossed his arms. Then we do it carefully. You give me access. I'll send a distress beacon to the nearest human fleet. She hesitated. If we are caught, there will be war before the message even leaves the ship. Leon looked at her firmly. There's already going to be war if we don't try. For a moment, silence filled the room. Only the soft hum of energy surrounded them. Then Kalira nodded slowly, her eyes filled with resolve. Follow me. They made their way down into the lower decks, where alien machinery pulsed like veins under glass. Strange energy currents moved through the walls, glowing with blue light. The air smelled sharp and metallic. This section is forbidden even for me, Kalira whispered. The heart grid controls all communication. Leon stared at the central console, which floated above the floor like a sphere of pure light. Then that's where we send the signal. Kalira placed her hand on the sphere, and hundreds of alien symbols appeared in the air. I can open a channel for 12 seconds before the system locks down, she said. After that, the Emperor will know. 12 seconds is enough, Leon said, pulling a small device from his belt. This is an Earth beacon, old tech, but it'll punch through anything. She watched him connect it to the console. You carry your home wherever you go, she said quietly. Leon smiled. Yeah, I guess it's a habit. As the console powered up, the ship trembled. Kalira's eyes widened. They've detected us. Keep it steady, Leon shouted, typing rapidly. Almost there. Suddenly the door burst open and 2 guards stepped in, weapons drawn. Kalira moved faster than Leon expected. She raised her hand, and a wave of violet light burst from her palm, slamming the guards into the wall. Leon stared in shock. You can fight like that? Kalira's voice shook. It's forbidden for royals to use combat power, but I learned in secret. The console beeped loudly. Message sent, Leon said, relief flooding his face. They'll come. Kalira turned toward him, her expression torn between hope and terror. And when they do, my world will burn. Before Leon could answer, the entire chamber turned crimson. Sirens wailed across the ship. The Emperor's voice boomed through the speakers. Kalira of Valar, you have betrayed your people. Kalira froze, her face pale. He knows. Then we run, Leon said. Grabbing her hand, they sprinted through the corridors as alarms blared. Guards appeared at every corner, but Kalira used her power again, shimmering shields and waves of light, protecting them both. Her silver hair streamed behind her like molten starlight. Finally, they reached an observation deck. Through the glass, Leon could see the distant stars, and far beyond, a faint glimmer of blue light flashing in the void, the signal leaving at last. They'll come for us, he said softly. Kalira nodded, her eyes glowing bright. And when they do, I will stand with you. Leon turned to her. Why risk everything for me? For humans? Kalira looked out into the stars, her voice trembling but strong. Because when I looked at your world, I saw imperfection, struggle and hope, and I realized that is what beauty truly means. Outside, the stars flickered like 1,000 watching eyes. Somewhere in the dark, humanity's fleet began to move, and aboard the Valerian flagship, a human and an alien princess stood together, as shadows of war closed in around them. The alarms still screamed through the corridors like angry ghosts. Red light washed over the walls, turning everything into a world of fire and shadow. Leon and Kalira ran through narrow passageways that twisted like veins inside the giant ship. Every turn they took felt like stepping deeper into the heart of danger. The Emperor's guards are everywhere, Leon said, his breath heavy. We won't reach the docks in time. Kalira glanced back, her silver eyes glowing brighter than ever. We are not going to the docks, she said firmly. I know a different way. They entered a spiral chamber lined with transparent tubes filled with glowing mist. Strange alien symbols floated across them, humming with energy. Leon stopped, staring. What is this place? Kalira hesitated before answering. The core of stars. It is where we store fragments of dying suns. Leon blinked in disbelief. You mean real stars? Yes, she said, her voice trembling slightly. Each one taken from a system the Dominion conquered. Their light fuels our ships. Their heat powers our weapons. Leon looked at her, stunned. You're saying your people are literally burning the stars of others? Kalira lowered her head. Yes, we called it progress. For a moment, Leon couldn't speak, his anger mixed with sorrow. And you wonder why we fight, he said quietly. Kalira's gaze met his. That is why I brought you here, she whispered. To see what I am trying to stop. As she approached the central console, the room pulsed with new energy. If I can overload the core of stars, she said, it will send a massive energy surge through the Dominion network. Their fleet will be blind for hours. It will give your people time to strike or escape. Leon frowned. That sounds like suicide. Her lips curved into a sad smile. Maybe, she said softly. But if I can stop this war before it begins, it will be worth it. Leon stepped forward, shaking his head. No, Kalira. You don't need to die for this. I already betrayed my father, my throne, and my kind, she said. What else do I have left but choice? He grabbed her hand, his voice strong and steady. You have more than that. You have courage. You have light. You have me. For the first time, Kalira's cold mask cracked. Her eyes softened. Leon, she whispered, humans are so strange you see worth even in the broken pieces? Before Leon could answer, the sound of marching echoed through the corridor. Heavy steps, metallic and cold. The Emperor's soldiers were coming. Kalira turned back to the console, her hands glowing as she pressed them into the crystalline surface. Lines of light spread from her palms, filling the room with radiant energy. The air trembled as the core began to awaken. Leon could feel heat rising. Kalira, what's happening? The core is linked to my mind, she said through clenched teeth. It listens to emotion, I am guiding it. Her body shimmered with energy, streams of light wrapping around her arms and hair. Her voice became distant. Leon, when your people arrive, tell them not all Valerians are blind. Leon moved closer, his voice urgent. You're not dying here, do you hear me? But before he could reach her, a massive blast shook the entire ship. The walls cracked, and energy surged from the crystal veins outside the window. Leon saw something breathtaking. Hundreds of Valerian ships across the nebula flickering out, their engines going dark one by one. Kalira fell to her knees, her silver skin glowing faintly. It's done, she whispered weakly. The Dominion is blind. Leon caught her before she hit the floor. You did it, he said. You actually did it, she smiled faintly. I told you, Commander. I am not beautiful like human women. Leon looked into her fading eyes. No, he said softly. You're something far beyond beautiful. But before he could say more, the door exploded open. The Emperor himself entered, his eyes blazing like twin suns. So this is the traitor who would destroy her own kind, he thundered. Kalira struggled to stand. Father, please. It doesn't have to be war. He raised his arm, energy gathering in his palm. You are no daughter of mine. Leon moved instantly. Stepping in front of her, the blast struck him square in the chest, hurling him across the floor. Pain flared through his body, and everything blurred. Kalira screamed. A sound that split the air like glass shattering. Her entire body ignited in white light. The core of stars responded, its crystals glowing brighter than ever. Stop, she cried. You cannot kill what was made to shine. The energy around her burst outward, slamming the Emperor backward. His armor cracked, his crown fell, and for the first time, fear flashed in his eyes. Leon tried to rise, his voice weak. Kalira, don't. But it was too late. Her light expanded, touching every corner of the chamber, and the entire ship trembled under her power. Outside, the nebula erupted in color, blue, gold, and violet light sweeping across space like waves. Ships turned, sensors failed, and far beyond the chaos, humanity's fleet saw the beacon. Admiral Reyes of the human dreadnought whispered, We've got her signal, they're alive. Back on the Valerian ship. Kalira fell to her knees beside Leon, the glow fading from her skin. They will come now, she said softly. Your people will find you. Leon, barely conscious, smiled weakly. Not without you. Kalira's hand trembled as she touched his face. You humans never stop fighting, do you? He whispered, Never. and as the light of the core dimmed, they both looked out through the cracked glass wall, watching the stars burn brighter than ever before. Somewhere deep within the glowing ruins of the core, something ancient stirred. A voice, neither human nor Valerian, whispering in the energy stream. The stars remember those who loved in darkness, and far beyond. In the silence between worlds, the human fleet began to descend, guided by the light of one alien princess who defied her own kind. The light of the nebula dimmed, replaced by the red glare of incoming warships. Thousands of human vessels broke through the veil of starlight, dreadnoughts, carriers, and escort cruisers, their metal hulls reflecting the fury of a species that never forgot pain. Humanity had arrived. Kalira stood beside the cracked window, her silver hair tangled and her armor scorched. The core had stopped pulsing. Silence filled the chamber except for the distant hum of approaching thunder. Leon lay behind her, breathing weakly, his uniform torn and his chest burned where the Emperor's energy blast had struck him. Outside, the human dreadnought HSS Resolute moved to the front of the formation. Admiral Reyes's voice echoed across all frequencies. Valerian fleet, this is humanity's final warning. Stand down or be erased. Kalira's heart raced. Her people's ships were scattered, their power crippled, and their communication blind because of her. She had saved billions of human lives, but now billions of her own were in danger. She looked down at Leon, his eyes half open. They're here, she whispered. Your people came for you. Leon smiled faintly. They came for us, he murmured, before Kalira could respond. The air rippled and her father appeared, limping, his armor cracked but his eyes burning brighter than ever. You brought this upon us, he growled. You have doomed the Dominion for the sake of a weak creature. Kalira stood tall, her voice steady. He is not weak, father. He fought with no weapons, no armor, only courage. Valen raised his trembling hand, lightning energy gathering again. You have no right to speak of courage. You are a traitor to your blood. Kalira didn't move. Then I will be a traitor if it means ending this madness. Leon tried to stand, wincing in pain. Kalira, don't. The Emperor's blast struck the wall beside them, shaking the chamber. Silence, human, he roared. You think your kind can survive the wrath of Valar? Leon coughed, but his voice stayed firm. We've survived worse, he said. We survived extinction. We survived our own mistakes. You think your empire can scare us? Valen's face twisted in rage. Then you will die first. Kalira stepped in front of Leon, spreading her arms, her silver body glowing with energy again. If you touch him, father, you will have to kill me first. For a moment, even the Emperor hesitated. His daughter's light filled the room, bright enough to make his crown of fire flicker. You would die for a human? He hissed. Kalira's eyes shimmered. No, father, I would live for one. Outside, the Resolute charged its main weapon. A massive beam of golden plasma gathered at its bow. Ready to fire, the voice of Admiral Reyes returned. Valerian flagship, surrender immediately or we open fire. Kalira turned toward the viewing window, her reflection shining beside Leon's broken form. Her people's ships were trembling. Confused, leaderless, she could end it all. Right here, right now, Leon touched her hand weakly. Don't do it alone, he said. You're not your father's legacy. You're your own light. Kalira's breath trembled. I was born to command armies, to conquer worlds, but for the first time, I want to save one. She closed her eyes and pressed her palms against the control crystal. The ship responded, connecting to the remaining Dominion vessels. Her voice echoed through every channel in the Valerian language, calm yet powerful. This is Princess Kalira of House Valen. Your emperor has fallen, your war is over. The humans you fear are not your enemies, they are survivors. And today I will stand between both fires. If you wish to live, power down your weapons and follow my light. For several seconds, there was only silence. Then, one by one, the glowing red markers on the display began to fade as Valerian ships powered down their cores. The once mighty war formation dissolved into quiet stillness. The Emperor's face twisted in disbelief. You command them still? Kalira turned to him. No, father, I inspired them. In his fury, Valen lunged at her, energy burning in his hand. But before he could strike, Leon raised a fallen weapon and fired. The shot struck the Emperor in the chest, throwing him backward into the broken crystal core. The light swallowed him whole. The explosion tore through the chamber. Kalira shielded Leon with her body, the impact hurling them across the room. The world went white. When the dust settled, The core was shattered. The Emperor was gone. Kalira lay motionless beside Leon, her body cracked with faint lines of light still glowing beneath the surface. Leon crawled to her side, his voice weak. "Stay with me." Her eyes fluttered open, glowing softly. "Is it over?" Leon looked out the shattered viewport where the human and Valerian fleets now floated in silence. "Yeah," he whispered. "You ended it." Kalira smiled faintly, her voice barely a whisper. "Maybe. Beauty isn't symmetry after all." Her hand touched his cheek, trembling. "You humans, you never stop reaching even when the stars fall." He held her close, tears mixing with the shimmer of her light. "And you, Kalira, you showed the galaxy what it means to shine outside." The nebula finally calmed, the last echoes of war fading into peace. The human fleet lowered their weapons and the Valerian ships drifted quietly, bathed in the faint glow of Kalira's dying light. The fire had come, and so had the choice. She had chosen compassion over conquest, love over legacy, and for the first time in recorded galactic history, the war ended, and not by victory but by understanding. Silence swept across the battlefield like dawn after an endless night. The stars burned quietly now, their colors soft and mournful. The great Valerian fleet hung powerless in the nebula's glow, while humanity's dreadnoughts surrounded them in perfect formation. Yet no shot was fired, no word of war was spoken, only the quiet hum of ships drifting between peace and ruin. Inside the shattered flagship, Leon Drake stirred, his armor cracked, his breathing slow. Around him, sparks fell like dying stars from the ruined core of the ship. The walls that once pulsed with power were now still, cold and fractured. In his arms lay Kalira, her silver skin dimmed, her body covered in faint lines of golden light, the fading echo of her energy. "Kalira," Leon whispered, shaking her gently. "Stay with me." Her eyes fluttered open, faint violet light glowing behind them. She smiled weakly. "You humans never give up, do you?" He laughed softly, even as pain burned through him. "Guess it's our most annoying habit." She reached up, brushing his cheek with trembling fingers. "I can't feel the stars anymore," she said quietly. "Their song is gone." Leon looked around at the broken chamber. "That's because you sang louder than all of them." Her lips curved faintly. "You say such strange things," she whispered, "but they make the darkness seem warm." Through the shattered hull they both saw the light of the nebula flicker. A massive shadow approached, HSS Resolute, the flagship of humanity's fleet. Its engines glowed golden as it aligned with the crippled Valerian ship. Admiral Reyes's voice came through Leon's communicator. "Commander Drake, we have your signal. Are you alive?" Leon pressed the transmitter, his voice weak but clear. "Alive. But the princess, she's..." Kalira placed her hand on his and spoke softly. "I am not your mission, Commander. You must finish what I began." Reyes's voice softened. "The Valerians have powered down, no resistance detected, whatever she did." "It's over." Kalira's eyes shimmered faintly. "Not over," she said. "Only beginning." The energy around her body pulsed weakly, like a heartbeat fading with each passing second. Leon leaned closer. "Kalira, listen to me. You're going to make it. We'll get you to medical." She shook her head slowly. "No, Leon, my body cannot survive without the core. I gave it everything I had, but there is one thing I can still do." Before Leon could stop her, she reached toward the glowing remains of the crystal heart. The light around her began to grow again, one soft, steady, beautiful. "The Valerian fleet listens to the core," she said. "It was built to obey my father's will, now it will hear mine." Leon's heart raced. "Kalira, don't..." Her voice deepened, echoing through the ship, through every comm channel across the Dominion. "People of Velar," she said, her tone strong and calm. "Lay down your weapons. The war you feared is gone. The humans you hated are not your end. They are your beginning." Her words resonated like music through the vast emptiness of space. On every Valerian ship, soldiers paused. Officers lowered their weapons, and in every human vessel, the crew watched silently as her voice carried through the void. Kalira looked back at Leon, her eyes glowing brighter. "This light, it belongs to no empire now. It belongs to all who still believe in something good." Leon shook his head, tears in his eyes. "Don't leave me," she smiled, faint and soft. "I'm not leaving, I'm just changing." The light around her grew so bright that Leon had to shield his eyes. The cracked crystals of the core responded, rising slowly, forming a halo around her. Her body dissolved into pure energy, merging with the broken fragments. The ship began to glow not with destruction, but with peace, a gentle warmth that spread through the wreckage. Outside, every Valerian ship began to shimmer with golden light. Not fire, not weapons, but a signal, one of unity, not fear. Leon fell to his knees, staring as Kalira's form became one with the energy. Her voice lingered in the air, soft, distant, almost like a breeze. Tell them, Leon, that beauty was never meant to be perfect, it was meant to be alive. The ship went silent again. Her light faded, leaving behind only the echo of her final words. Hours later, rescue teams from the Resolute arrived. They found Leon sitting beside the shattered core, his gaze fixed on the faint glow that still lingered in the air. When Admiral Reyes approached, Leon whispered, "She stopped the war, Admiral. She gave her life for both sides." Reyes nodded slowly. "Then she saved the galaxy." Leon looked out the window one last time at the nebula now calm and golden. "No," he said quietly. "She became it." That night, as the fleets drifted under the silent stars, the Valerians called the event the Dawn of Light, and among the humans it became known as the Last Light of Valar. In both histories, one truth remained. Humanity did not win that day, nor did the Valerians lose. The stars themselves chose peace, through the courage of a princess who dared to love beyond her kind. And somewhere in the quiet glow between worlds, a faint shimmer moved across the sky, like a heartbeat in the heavens. It was said that when future explorers entered the Valerian system, their ship's sensors picked up a faint energy pulse whispering through the void. Kalira's voice, soft and eternal courage and light, it said. That is all the universe ever needed. Years passed, and the scars of war began to fade like echoes swallowed by the stars. The Valerian dominion no longer ruled through fear and perfection. Its vast fleets now patrolled beside human vessels under one shared banner, the Galactic Accord of Valar and Earth. Commander Leon Drake, now older and quiet, stood before a towering monument floating above the planet Valar itself. It was carved from luminous crystal, shaped like a woman reaching toward the stars. Her hair flowed upward like rivers of light, and her eyes, soft and eternal, seemed to look right through time itself. Beneath the statue was a single inscription, glowing in two languages, human and Valerian alike. She chose courage over conquest and love over legacy. Kalira, the Silver Princess, light between worlds. Leon placed his gloved hand on the crystal base, feeling the faint hum of energy that still lingered inside it. Every Valerian said the monument was alive, that Kalira's essence pulsed through its heart like a heartbeat. Guiding their world in silence, he smiled softly. You were right. Kalira, he whispered, beauty wasn't perfection. It was the courage to feel. A group of Valerian children floated nearby, their silver skin shimmering faintly. One of them, a small girl with violet eyes, looked up at him curiously. Human commander, is it true she glowed like a star when she died? Leon knelt, smiling. No, he said gently. She didn't die, little one. She became the light that keeps us all alive. The children gasped softly, looking up at the glowing statue, whispering her name like a prayer. Their laughter echoed across the square, a sound once forbidden on Valar, now cherished as sacred far above them. The joint human-Valerian fleet orbited quietly, shining under the twin suns of the system. Ships that were once enemies now carried crews of both species working side by side, exploring the edges of known space, seeking life, not conquest. At the center of the command deck aboard the HSS Unity, the first combined species flagship, a small orb of crystal sat in a protective chamber. It pulsed faintly with golden light, the same wavelength as Kalira's final energy signature. Every cycle at dawn, it whispered a faint tone, a song that resonated across every ship, reminding them of the day the war ended and peace began. Leon walked slowly through the city that now surrounded the monument, his once brown hair streaked with gray, his uniform decorated with medals he never asked for. To the Valerians, he was called the Keeper of Light. To the humans, the man who spoke with stars. But to himself, he was simply the man who once saw beauty where others saw difference. He reached the city's balcony, where the twin suns met the horizon, painting the sky in violet and gold. The air shimmered faintly, not with heat but with energy, the same energy that once filled Kalira's eyes, still watching me. he murmured with a smile. A soft wind brushed past him, carrying faint particles of light that danced through the air. He laughed quietly. Yeah, I thought so. He looked toward the night sky where thousands of stars shimmered together, forming what humanity now called the Calera Belt, a region of space where her energy had spread during the final surge. Scientists said it was the most stable nebula ever recorded, but Leon knew better. That wasn't a nebula. It was her soul, still burning, still shining, still protecting. Every year on the day they called the Day of Light, humans and Valerians across the galaxy powered down their ships for 1 full hour. In that silence, they told her story. Children recited her final words, and soldiers swore to defend peace with the same courage she had shown. And when the hour ended, the sky above every world lit up with a coordinated burst of gold and violet light, a living tribute that turned night into morning. Leon watched it from the balcony, the reflection of light gleaming in his eyes. He whispered softly to the stars, "You thought you weren't beautiful, Calera." But the whole galaxy disagreed. A faint shimmer appeared on the horizon, just for a moment shaped like a woman of light, smiling. Then it vanished into the stars. Leon smiled faintly. "Guess even the universe couldn't let go of you," he said, his voice breaking slightly as the celebrations continued below. Leon turned to leave, his heart calm. His communicator buzzed softly. A young officer's voice came through, half Valerian, half human. "Admiral Drake, we've received a new transmission from deep space, source unknown. Frequency matches the old Valerian code, but it's pure light." Leon froze, his pulse quickening. "Patch it through," he said. The message played, not words, just a sound. A soft melody like wind chimes underwater, but beneath it, faint and clear, a voice spoke. "Courage and light." Leon smiled through tears. "Welcome back, Princess," he whispered. The stars above flared once more as if answering his words. And so the galaxy remembered her, not as a weapon, not as royalty, but as the first heart that beat for 2 worlds. They called her the Silver Princess, the light between worlds, and her story became legend, whispered wherever starlight touched the dark. Because sometimes the brightest stars are not born. They are made, and by those who choose love when the universe demands war. And somewhere in that infinite light, Calera's voice still echoed soft and eternal. "The stars are not cold anymore, Leon.